Welcome to the show! Okay, not the show, but welcome to my channel. It's great to see you. So, get this. The human body, right? It's incredible. It's a masterpiece of engineering. It can run marathons, create art, solve complex equations, but it can also be just bizarre. I mean, really, really weird. We're talking about things that happen to all of us, or maybe just some of us, that make you stop and go, wait, what just happened? Did anyone else see that? Or feel that? It's like our bodies have their own little late-night talk show going on inside, and sometimes the guests are just out of control. You know that feeling? You're just minding your own business, maybe trying to fall asleep, and suddenly your body does something completely bonkers. It's like a glitch in the Matrix, but the Matrix is you, and you can't just call tech support. You're left wondering if you're the only one this happens to. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are not alone. We all have these strange, unexplainable, and sometimes downright hilarious moments. It's part of the deal of being human. So tonight, or today, or whenever you're watching, we're going to pull back the curtain on some of the most unbelievable, head-scratching, and frankly, kind of creepy phenomena our bodies can cook up. We're going to dive into the science behind the weirdness, from phantom phone calls to secret brain snacks, and even tiny little critters living on your face. Yeah, you heard me. So grab a snack, get comfortable, and get ready to say, get out of here. A lot, because this is 10 bizarre body phenomena you won't believe. Let's get into it. Alright, first up on our list of bodily weirdness is something I think we've all experienced. Picture this. You've had a long day. You finally get into bed, you're cozy, your pillow is perfect, you're just drifting off into that sweet, sweet dreamland. You're floating on a cloud, everything is peaceful, and then bam! Your whole body jerks like you've been zapped with a cattle prod. Your leg kicks out, your arm flails, and you're suddenly wide awake, heart pounding, thinking, what was that? Welcome, my friends, to the wonderful world of the hypnic jerk, or as I like to call it, the midnight body slam. It's the worst, right? You're on the verge of the best sleep of your life, and your body decides to do a full-on parkour move. Sometimes you even get a little bonus sensation, like you're falling off a cliff or you step off a curb that isn't there. I've had that. I was dreaming I was about to dunk a basketball and then my leg just went for it in real life. My wife was not thrilled. It's a very real, very startling thing that happens as your brain is transitioning from being awake to being asleep. It's like the DJ is trying to switch tracks and accidentally scratches the record. So, what's the deal? Why does our body betray us like this? Well, scientists have a few theories. One of the big ones is an old evolutionary idea. They think it might be a leftover reflex from our primate ancestors who slept in trees. Yeah, seriously. The theory goes that as your muscles relax, your brain misinterprets it as you falling out of the tree. So it sends a massive wake-up. Grab a branch. Signal to your muscles to save you. It's your ancient monkey brain trying to be a hero, even though you're safely tucked into your queen-size bed. It's like your brain is an overprotective parent. It sees you relaxing and goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you falling? Let me just jolt every muscle you have to be sure. Thanks, brain. Really helpful. And it's not just the falling sensation. Some people hear a loud bang or a popping sound inside their head, which has the super comforting name exploding head syndrome. I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's all part of the same family of sleep start shenanigans. And if you've noticed this happening more when you're super tired, stressed out, or after you've had a lot of caffeine, you're not imagining things. Those factors can totally increase the chances of a hypnic jerk. Your brain is already on high alert from the stress or the 5 espressos you had, so it's more likely to overreact as you fall asleep. So the next time your body does the electric slide right as you're about to doze off, just remember, it's not a ghost. It's just your inner monkey looking out for you. Badly. Okay, next up. This one is for anyone who has a smartphone. So everyone, have you ever been just sitting there? Maybe you're in a meeting, watching a movie, or just walking down the street and you feel it? That distinct, unmistakable buzz in your pocket. Bzz, bzz. You think, oh, a text. Maybe it's from the Roots. Maybe Questlove sent me a new drum solo. You reach for your phone, pull it out, look at the screen, and there's nothing. No call, no text, no notification, nothing. Your phone was completely silent. You just experienced phantom vibration syndrome. And it is a real thing. It's not just you. Studies have shown that a huge percentage of people, something like 80 or 90%, have felt these ghost vibrations. It's a modern-day malady. Back in the day, people probably had phantom carrier pigeon syndrome. I swear I felt a beak tap my shoulder. But for us, it's our phones. Our brains are literally making up sensations because we're so conditioned to expect them. It's wild. So, what's happening here? It's basically a case of your brain being on high alert. We've trained ourselves to be constantly connected, always waiting for the next ping, the next buzz, the next update. Our phones have become so important to our social lives and work lives that our brain puts the phone vibration detector on its highest sensitivity setting. It's like turning the volume on your hearing aid all the way up. You're going to start hearing things that aren't really there. Your brain is constantly scanning for any little twitch, any rustle of fabric in your pocket, any tiny muscle spasm, and it misinterprets it. It thinks, that could be the phone. Sound the alarm, alert the human. It's a form of hypervigilance, driven by our underlying anxiety about missing something important. FOMO, the fear of missing out, is so powerful it's literally creating physical sensations. Think about that. Our desire to see a new cat video is so strong, our brains are willing to lie to us. It's the ultimate Pavlovian response for the 21st century. Instead of a dog drooling at the sound of a bell, we're twitching at the ghost of a text message. And the more you rely on your phone, the more likely you are to experience it. So, the next time you feel that phantom buzz, just take a deep breath. It's not a ghost in your machine, it's just your brain, a little over-caffeinated on technology, trying to keep you in the loop, even when there's no loop to be in. Or, maybe it is Questlove and the signal is just bad. You never know. Alright, this next one. This one is going to sound like it's straight out of a sci-fi horror movie, but I promise you, it is 100% real. We've talked about your brain tricking you, but what if something else was tricking your brain? Something tiny, microscopic, and possibly living in your house right now. We're talking about a parasite. A parasite that can get into your brain and subtly change your personality and behavior. And how does this little body hijacker get around? Oh, just through one of the most common household pets on the planet. Cats. I'm talking about a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii. Let's just call him Toxo for short. Sounds friendlier. Toxo's main goal in life is to get inside a cat. That's where it can reproduce and live its best life. To do this, it has a clever and frankly terrifying strategy. It infects other animals, like mice and rats, and changes their behavior. It makes them less afraid of cats. In fact, it can even make them attracted to the smell of cat urine. I'm not making this up. The parasite literally makes the mouse walk up to the cat and say, "Hi, please eat me." It's a mind control zombie mouse. So, where do we humans fit into this horror story? Well, we can get infected too. The parasite is shed in a cat's feces. So if you're cleaning a litter box, or doing some gardening in soil where a cat has, done its business, you can accidentally ingest the parasite. It's way more common than you think. Some estimates say up to a third of the world's population could be carrying this little guy around in their brains. A third! Look at the person next to you. Now look at the other person. One of you might have a brain co-pilot. Now, before you go and put your cat up for adoption, don't do that. Cats are the best. For most people with healthy immune systems, the infection is no big deal. You might get some flu-like symptoms, and then it goes dormant. But here's where it gets weird. Studies have started to link chronic, latent toxo-infections with subtle changes in human personality. We're talking about things like increased risk-taking, changes in neuroticism, and some studies have even suggested links to things like car accidents or entrepreneurial behavior. The idea is that the parasite might be slightly tweaking our brain chemistry for its own benefit. It's not turning us into cat-loving zombies, but it might be nudging us to be a little more daring, a little less cautious. The science is still developing, and there's a lot of debate, but the very idea is just mind-blowing, that a single-celled organism, something you can't even see, could be influencing who we are. It makes you question everything, right? Is it you wanting to go skydiving, or is it the toxo? Is it you deciding to start that new business, or is it the parasite? It's a true body hijacker, a tiny puppeteer pulling on our neural strings. So, wash your hands, I guess, and maybe give your cat a suspicious look. Just in case. Okay, we're going from creepy science to just pure terror. This next one is something that people have been experiencing for centuries, and it's so frightening that it has inspired countless horror stories, myths, and terrifying works of art. It's called sleep paralysis. And if you've had it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, count yourself lucky, because it is one of the most unsettling things the human body can do to itself. It's like your brain wakes up but forgets to tell your body. Imagine this. You wake up in the middle of the night. Your eyes are open. You can see your room. You can hear the hum of the air conditioner. You are completely conscious and aware of where you are. But you can't move. At all. You try to lift your arm. Nothing. You try to turn your head. Nothing. You try to scream for help. But you can't even open your mouth. You are completely, utterly paralyzed, trapped inside your own motionless body. It's a waking nightmare. As if being a prisoner in your own body wasn't bad enough, sleep paralysis often comes with a few horrifying party favors. The most common one is a crushing pressure on your chest, a feeling like someone or something is sitting on you, making it hard to breathe. This is where the old legends of the night hag or a demon sitting on your chest came from. People were literally describing this physical sensation. It's absolutely terrifying. You're lying there, helpless, feeling like you're being suffocated. And then come the hallucinations. Because your brain is still halfway in dreamland, it starts to project your worst fears into the room with you. People report seeing shadowy figures standing in the corner of the room or by their bed. They hear whispering, footsteps, or menacing sounds. You're seeing and hearing things that feel completely real, but you are powerless to react. It's the perfect storm of fear. You're awake. You perceive a threat, but your body's fight or flight system has been disabled. All you can do is lie there and be terrified. So what in the world is going on? It's actually a glitch in your sleep cycle. During REM sleep, the stage where you have vivid dreams, your brain paralyzes your muscles. It's a safety mechanism called REM atonia. It's a good thing. It stops you from physically acting out your dreams. You don't want to be running from a dream monster and actually run into your dresser, right? Sleep paralysis happens. When you wake up, your brain has turned that paralysis off. Your mind is awake, but the off switch for the paralysis hasn't been flipped yet. The hallucinations and fear are your waking brain trying to make sense of the strange signals it's getting. It's a terrifying, but ultimately harmless brain glitch. A very, very scary glitch. Alright, let's lighten things up a bit. From the depths of night terrors to this. You walk out of a dark movie theater into the bright afternoon sun. You look up at the sky and achoo! Or maybe you're driving, and you come around a bend and the sun hits your windshield just right. Achoo! 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 A whole barrage of them. If this sounds familiar, you might not just be allergic to the sun. You might have a fun little genetic quirk with a fantastic name, the photic sneeze reflex. Or, even better, achoo syndrome. Yes, I am serious. Scientists, in a moment of pure genius, came up with a backronym for it. Autosomal Dominant Compelling Helio-Ophthalmic Outburst, ACHOO. You can't make this stuff up. It's like they thought of the name first and then worked backward. Alright guys, we need a name for sun sneezing. How about achoo? Now what can that stand for? It's perfect. It's one of the few medical conditions that sounds exactly like what it is. So what is this thing? It's a genetic trait. You're born with it. It runs in families. If one of your parents is a sun sneezer, you have about a 50% chance of being one too. It affects a pretty big chunk of the population, maybe up to 35% of people. So if you're an achooer, you're in a pretty big club. We should get jackets. It's not an allergy. You're not allergic to light. It's a case of crossed wires in your brain. Here's the leading theory. Your trigeminal nerve is a huge cranial nerve that's responsible for all kinds of sensations in your face, including the irritation in your nose that triggers a sneeze. Right next to it is the optic nerve, which, as you know, sends signals from your eyes to your brain about light. In people with achoo syndrome, these two nerve pathways are a little too close for comfort. They're like neighbors who share a wall that's way too thin. So when a sudden bright light hits your eyes, the optic nerve fires off a massive signal to the brain. Whoa! Bright light! It's really bright! The signal is so strong that it kind of leaks over and stimulates the nearby trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve gets this jolt and gets confused. It thinks, hey, I'm feeling something. Must be pepper or dust. Time to sneeze. And boom! The light goes in your eyes, but the sneeze comes out your nose. It's a classic case of neural crosstalk, a glitch in your facial wiring that makes you salute the sun with a sneeze. It's weird, it's harmless, and it's a great excuse if you sneeze during a serious moment. Sorry, it's my helio-ophthalmic outburst. It's compelling. We always think of our brain, the one in our head, as the CEO of the body. It's giving all the orders, making all the big decisions. But what if I told you there's another brain? A second brain that operates partly on its own, has more neurons than your spinal cord, and has a huge impact on your mood and decisions. And where is this mysterious second brain located? In your gut, your stomach and intestines. I'm not kidding. It's called the enteric nervous system. This isn't just a metaphor. The enteric nervous system, or ENS, is a complex network of over 100 million nerve cells lining your entire digestive tract, from your esophagus all the way down. It's so complex that it can operate independently of the brain in your head. It manages the whole complicated business of digestion, moving food along, breaking it down, absorbing nutrients, all without you having to think about it. Thank goodness, right? Could you imagine having to consciously manage that? Okay, time to release some stomach acid. Now, peristalsis, go! It would be a full-time job. But the ENS does way more than just handle your lunch. It's in constant communication with your main brain. They're connected by a massive information highway called the vagus nerve. And here's the crazy part. Most of the information, something like 90% of it, travels from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. Your gut is constantly sending status updates to your head. This is where we get gut feelings. That intuitive sense that something is right or wrong, it might literally be coming from your gut. This gut-brain axis has a profound effect on our emotions. Have you ever felt butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous? That's your brain telling your gut to slow down digestion, and you feel the result. Conversely, if your gut is upset, it can send signals to your brain that make you feel anxious or depressed. It's a two-way street of feelings. In fact, a huge amount of the body's serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is produced in the gut, not the brain. And it gets even weirder. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, the gut microbiome. These little guys are not just passive residents. They are active participants. They help you digest food, but they also produce chemicals that can influence your brain and your mood. Different types of bacteria can affect your anxiety levels, your stress response, and even your cravings. It's like there's a whole city of tiny chemical factories in your belly, and their output can change how you feel day to day. So the next time someone tells you to trust your gut, they're giving you some pretty solid neuroscientific advice. Okay, this sounds bad. I know it sounds bad. Brain self-cannibalism. It sounds like the title of a zombie movie I would definitely watch. But stick with me, because this is a fascinating process that's happening inside your head, especially when you're pulling an all-nighter or you decide to skip lunch. Your brain cells, under certain kinds of stress, can literally start to eat bits of themselves. It's a process called autophagy, which means self-eating. Now, before you panic and think your brain is going to devour itself into nothingness, this is actually a good thing. Most of the time. Autophagy is like a cellular recycling and cleanup program. Your cells are constantly producing waste and have parts that get old and worn out. Astrocytes, which are like the janitor cells of the brain, go around and gobble up these old junky bits. They break them down and recycle them into new usable components. It's a vital housekeeping process that keeps your brain running smoothly. But here's where it gets interesting. Scientists discovered that this process goes into overdrive when you're sleep-deprived or hungry. When you don't get enough sleep, your brain's cleanup crew works harder to clear out the extra debris that builds up. That part is good. But they found that with chronic sleep deprivation, another type of brain cell, the microglial cells, also get activated. These are the eaters of the brain, and they start to eat more than just junk. They can start to nibble away at synapses, the connections between your neurons. That's not so good. And what about when you're hungry? Your brain is a huge energy hog. It uses about 20% of your body's calories. When you haven't eaten, your body needs to find energy from somewhere. So, brain cells can ramp up autophagy to break down some of their own less essential parts to generate a quick burst of energy to keep things running. It's the ultimate survival mechanism. Your brain cells are literally sacrificing a piece of themselves to keep the lights on. This self-eating process is also linked to your hunger signals. When the cells in your brain's hunger center, the hypothalamus, start this process, it actually amplifies the hunger signals being sent to the rest of your body. It's your brain saying, "Hey, I'm so hungry down here, I'm starting to eat the furniture. You need to go find some food, now!" So that intense, can't think about anything else hunger you feel? You can thank your brain's self-cannibalism for that. It's a dramatic but very effective way to get you to the fridge. This next phenomenon is incredibly rare, but it is so strange and so heartbreaking that it really makes you think about how the brain creates our reality. It's a psychiatric condition called the Capgras delusion or Capgras syndrome. Imagine looking at someone you love more than anyone in the world, your spouse, your child, your parent, and being completely, utterly convinced that they are not who they say they are. You believe they have been replaced by an identical imposter, a double, a robot, an alien, someone who looks, sounds, and acts exactly like your loved one, but isn't them. It's not that you don't recognize them. That's a different condition. With Capgras, you see your wife and you say, "Yes, that person looks exactly like my wife." You recognize every feature of their face. You know their voice. But the feeling, the emotional connection, the warm sense of familiarity that should be there, is gone. It's just an empty void. And your brain, trying to make sense of this bizarre disconnect, comes up with a logical, albeit delusional, explanation. This person looks like my wife, but I don't like they're my wife. Therefore, they must be an imposter. Neurologists believe this comes from a breakdown between two different parts of the brain. There's the part of your brain that handles facial recognition, the what pathway. It's like a visual database that says, "Yep, that's Bob." Then there's the part of your emotional system in the limbic system that attaches feelings to that recognition, the feeling pathway. It's what gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling when you see Bob. In Capgras delusion, the visual pathway works fine, but the connection to the emotional pathway is severed. The signal for "that's Bob" gets to the brain, but it never triggers the signal for "and I feel good, safe, happy about Bob." The lack of that emotional response is so jarring, so wrong, that the person's rational mind scrambles for an answer. The most logical conclusion it can draw is that this person cannot be the real Bob. It's a chilling example of how crucial our emotions are to our perception of reality. Without the right emotional tag, a familiar face becomes a terrifying mask. This condition can be caused by brain injuries, dementia, or other neurological problems, and it is devastating for families. How do you convince someone that you are you? You can't. Any proof you offer is just seen as part of the imposter's clever trick. It's a lonely, terrifying world to live in, both for the person suffering from the delusion and for the loved one who has been labeled an imposter. It truly shows that seeing isn't always believing. For our brains, feeling is believing. We've all had déjà vu, right? That spooky feeling that you've lived this exact moment before. It's a classic brain glitch. But have you ever had the opposite? A feeling called jamais vu. It's French for never seen. It's when you're in a situation that is incredibly familiar, something you do every day, but suddenly it feels completely new, strange, and unfamiliar. It's like you're looking at your own life through the eyes of a stranger. The most common way people experience this is with a word. Have you ever done this? You write a word or say a word over and over again. A simple word like door, 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 door. You keep repeating it, and after a while, it just loses all meaning. It stops looking like a real word. It just looks like a weird collection of letters. The sound becomes strange in your mouth. You look at it and think, is that really how you spell door? It looks so weird. That is jamais vu. It can happen with more than just words. You could be walking down your own street, a street you've walked down 1,000 times, and for a split second, you don't recognize it. The houses look strange. The turn seems unfamiliar. Or you might look at a person you know very well, a close friend or family member, and for a fleeting moment, their face seems like the face of a stranger. It's a deeply unsettling and disorienting feeling, like a momentary amnesia for a single specific thing. So what causes this strange mental blank? Scientists think it's a form of brain fatigue. When you stare at a word or a face or a scene for too long, or repeat it too many times, the neurons responsible for recognizing it get tired. They've been firing over and over again, and they just stop. They need a break. For a moment, the connection between the stimulus, the word, the face, and your brain's stored memory of it is temporarily lost. The meaning disconnects from the symbol. It's your brain's way of saying, I'm oversaturated. I can't process this anymore. It's the mental equivalent of when you stare at a bright color and then look away and see the opposite color. Your brain cells get fatigued and create a strange after effect. Jamais vu is that after effect for familiarity. It's a temporary breakdown in perception, a brief glimpse into a world where nothing is familiar. It usually passes in a few seconds, but for that short time, it's a powerful reminder of how fragile our sense of reality really is. So next time a word looks weird, don't worry. Your brain is just taking a tiny coffee break. right, settle in. I need you to promise me you won't freak out. Promise? Okay. I want you to take a moment and think about your eyelashes. They're great, right? They keep dust out of your eyes. They look good. They're also a home, a habitat, an entire ecosystem. Because living in the follicles of your eyelashes and in the pores on your face are microscopic creatures. Tiny, 8-legged arachnids called Demodex mites. And pretty much all of us have them. I told you not to freak out. Yes, you. Right now. You almost certainly have tiny little mites, relatives of spiders and ticks, living at the base of your eyelashes. There are two main types that live on humans, and they are tiny, about 1/3 of a millimeter long, so you can't see them with the naked eye. They look like little translucent, worm-like things with 8 stubby legs near their head, and they spend their entire lives on your face. What are they doing there? They're just living their lives, man. They burrow headfirst into your hair follicles and oil glands, and they feast. They eat the dead skin cells and the sebum, the natural oil that your skin produces. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet for them. They are born on your face, they eat on your face, they mate on your face, and then they die on your face. A truly beautiful and slightly gross circle of life. And here's the best part. They are most active at night. When you turn out the lights and go to sleep, that's their time to shine. They crawl out of the follicles and onto the surface of your skin to find a mate. So while you're dreaming, tiny little mites are having a romantic night out on your forehead. Another fun fact, they don't have an anus. They can't excrete waste. So they just store it all up inside their bodies their whole lives. And when they die and decompose in your pores, it all gets released. You're welcome for that image. Now, for the vast majority of people, these eyelash mites are completely harmless. We have a symbiotic relationship. They get a place to live and food to eat, and they help clean up our dead skin cells. It's only when their population gets out of control that they can cause problems, like inflammation, irritation, and a condition called blepharitis. But most of us will live our whole lives without ever knowing our tiny facial roommates are there. So tonight, when you're washing your face, just give a little nod of respect to the microscopic arachnids of your personal ecosystem. They're part of what makes you, you. A slightly creepy but fascinating part. And there you have it. 10 of the most bizarre, unbelievable, and just plain weird things your body does without you even asking. From phantom vibrations and sun sneezes to brain-hijacking parasites and your own personal face mites. Isn't it incredible? Our bodies are these amazing, complicated machines that mostly work perfectly. But every now and then, a wire gets crossed, a weird old evolutionary program boots up, or a microscopic roommate throws a party on your face. It's not a flaw. It's just part of the endlessly fascinating story of being human. I hope this didn't freak you out too much. Okay, the eyelash mite thing was a little much. I'll admit it. But my goal is always to make you look at the world, and in this case yourself, with a little more wonder and a little less fear. The next time you jerk awake or feel a phantom buzz, you won't think you're going crazy. You'll know you're just experiencing a classic brain glitch, a little quirk in the system that connects you to millions of other people who felt the exact same thing. It's a shared human experience, even the weird parts. So what do you think? Have you experienced any of these? Do you have a story about sleep paralysis or an